Morning folks, it is Andy, the expedition hiker. We're on a post-Christmas walk. Now, at the moment, obviously you can hear from the noise by the side of me, we are on a busy road. We're at Whatstandwell train station in the Peak District, or just at the base of the Peak District. The road by the side of me is the A6, and we're going to head towards the bridge now and then onto the Cromford Canal. Then we're going to pass some quarries up to Crich Cliff. Then from Crich Cliff we're going to go past the Crich Memorial, and then we're going to head up to South Wingfield, which has a interesting manor. Now today there's quite a few interesting things to do with historical moments in time. There is snow on the cards today, so I'm not sure. I think we're on the border of the chances against snow. But who knows, we might get some snow. It's not really a circular walk. We are starting this walk from Whatstandwell train station, which is on the Matlock line, and then we're actually going to walk around in a slight horseshoe type shape, and we'll finish off at Ambergate train station so we can catch the train back home. So with that saying, let's crack on. Our first port of call today is the old Quarries, the Duke's Quarries. Look a bit dirty there. You've been rolling around in the mud. Oh, there's two of you now, and you're both as dirty as each other. Is it time for your yearly bath? Do you have a good Christmas? I think he wants a stroke. You want a stroking? Anyway, I'm going to do a bit of a walk, post-Christmas walk. You can join me if you like, but I'm sure you want to do your own thing. Yeah, see you later. Not that often I do so, but I decided to polish me leather boots last night. Now I wonder how long they're going to stay shiny and clean. Probably not very long. So hopefully you all had a good Christmas, and we're all out walking, burning off the energy of all that Christmas food. While I was planning this walk, I've noticed that this could be a series of walks just in this area alone. There's two other places nearby I would like to visit, including a haunted house, more interesting things towards trains as well. Not I'm a train spotter, but found some interesting facts about trains in the local area. Might be worthwhile taking a look. Anyway, at the moment we're on the Cromford Canal. So the Cromford Canal started in 1794, and it was built by William Jessup and Benjamin Outram, and it lasts for 14.3 miles. Starts at Cromford itself, at the Cromford Wharf, and it extends all the way to Langley Mill, which is by the side of the Erewash Canal. Now from the Erewash Canal it extends onto the Erewash River, and then the Erewash River goes on to the River Trent. There's also a rail line along its route as well. Quite a lot of transportation links. Now the canal used to have narrowboats that would transport cotton, coal and other materials along its way. Nowadays it's mainly just a walking path and bits of a nature reserve. There's 4 tunnels along its route and 14 locks. But the thing is, it looks a bit shallow in places. I don't think you'll be able to get a boat down it. A lot of silt and mud, and it only looks about 2 or 3 feet deep in places. Not used as actually a working canal anymore, a historical canal, and I think we're going to pass it a couple more times along this route today. So the Cromford Canal is quite famous for the transportation of cotton, as this is part of the Derwent Valley World Heritage Site, or the Derwent Valley Heritage Mills. Back in the past, when I used to be a budding artist, well, professional artist, I used to be the resident artist to the mills. So I've drawn a lot of the locations of the area, go Matlock all the way down to Derby. Anyway, we're going to walk along here a little while. There's a bridge we'll be coming to soon. When we cross the bridge, we'll be heading up the woodland on our right and up the hill to Duke Quarries. So along this route we've got 5 T's and 2 W's. So the T's are a tower, trams, trains, a tunnel and a toilet. And the 2 W's are a windmill and Wingfield Manor. And they're all on this route. So if you keep watching, you'll find out all the information you need to know about all those places. The Duke's Quarries stretch over half a mile, first started around 200 years ago, fully operational from 1808 to the end of the Second World War, most of which are disused on this side of the hill, but further along we'll pass part of the quarry that is still in use today, now owned by the Cavendish estate. Although not clear in research why they are called the Duke's Quarries, I would presume as the Cavendish estates own them, then the quarry is named after the Duke of Devonshire. They have been a supplier of sandstone, often used as large blocks to national projects as varied as prisons, bridges, churches, docks and stations. Looks like we're going into Jurassic Park country. It's a bit overgrown and all. Probably more in the spring months, because it's probably a bit slippery at the minute. It's known for a lot of climbers coming around this area. Could be a spot for wild camp actually though. At least we've got shelter from the wind. The odds of having a clear sky when we get up the top of this cliff to the viewpoint is looking very ominous. To our right is Cliff Quarry. The quarry was established in 1791 to supply limestone to an ironworks at Butterley, which is near Ilkeston. The lime, after being extracted here, went to the nearby Lime Kilns at Ambergate, where we'll be passing later on today. We passed Butterley Viaduct, which stood by the ironworks on one of my earlier walks, where I'll leave a link to here. The quarry was most recently used to supply aggregates until closure in the early 2000s. The quarries we went past earlier were of sandstone at Duke's Quarries, The area here is Kreitz cliff, mined for limestone. When I went on the Whitlock quarry, when I went to Mount St Bernard a few weeks ago, the fog has come down and the quarry's on my right and you cannot see anything into it. I was going to tell you all about the great views on top of this cliff. At the moment I can see about 20 metres. We're going to follow alongside Cliff Quarry and then we're going to head up towards the tower, which I know you're all gripped on your edge of your seats waiting to find out what's this tower. Well, soon you'll be able to find out. Now the Crouch Tower was built as a memorial for the Sherwood Foresters Regiment. Now in the years beyond, the Sherwood Foresters amalgamated. They amalgamated with the Worcestershire Regiment to become the Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters. When I was in the army, they were based on the same barracks as myself in Tidworth. I don't know where they are now. Well, I know they're not there at all because they were amalgamated with, I think it was the Cheshire Regiment and there was one other, I'll have to put that down there, and they formed the Mercian Regiment and it still stands as the Mercian Regiment now. So this is a memorial to the Mercian Regiment now. It has 56 steps and we are on the summit point of Crich Hill. Not the best day I expected it to be. I did expect to be at snow, but didn't think about this mist. I'll put a couple of pictures in of what it looks like on a better day. I have been up here on plenty of better days, so I'll find some of those pictures and add them in. Anyway, we're going to head down to Crich and we're going to go to the past the Crich Tramway Museum. We just passed the rail tracks. Alongside the Cliff Quarry is the Crich Tramway Museum. Crich Tower was a war memorial erected in 1922 to 23 after the First World War to the design of Lieutenant Colonel Breuil by Joseph Payne of Crich. A memorial to the Sherwood Foresters Regiment, iron railings and a gate added in 1929. Additional plaques added in 1952 and 1991 to commemorate those who died during the Second World War and subsequent conflicts. The Sherwood Foresters amalgamated with the Worcestershire Regiment in 1970 to form the Worcestershire and Sherwood Foresters Regiment, and then again amalgamated with other infantry regiments in 2007 to become the Mercian Regiment. So Crich Hill stands on the edge of the Amber Valley, and by looking this way we can see the lower part of the Peak District and the Derwent Valley. Or maybe not today because it's pea soup out there. A little bit frosty. It's funny actually, there's more frost on the ground now than there was first thing this morning. A tower has been on this site since 1760. This memorial tower also serves as a viewing platform and an inland lighthouse. Now, where we're actually located in England at the moment, we're about as middle as you can get to being away from the sea. There's a place not far from it called Matlock Bath. The Victorians made it into a promenade because it's so inland. As I say, inland lighthouse for a place that's, well, I guess about 120 miles away from the coast, any direction. Well, it definitely wasn't the weather I was expecting. Planned this a couple of days ago when my mum said might be snowing today, so I thought, well, that'd be nice, a bit of snow. We didn't get, don't look like we're going to get any snow, but it's a bit foggy. The National Tramway Museum contains over 60 trams built between 1873 and 1982 and is set in a village that has been recreated for the period, which contains a working pub, cafe, workshops, an old-style sweet shop, not sweatshop, and tram depots. Great for young and old when open. I remember bringing my son here to see Thomas the Tank Engine when he was about 7. He's now a magnificent 21. I'm not sure if he wants to go and see Thomas anymore. I was talking to him yesterday. Anyway, within the village is an Eagle letterpress. The Columbian printing press was built in 1859. The railway pioneer of the early 1800s, George Stephenson, had connections to Kreitz and the Tramway Museum, but more about him later. A mini version of the Kreitz Tower. The Church of St Mary's was built in the 11th century. In 1945, the spire was struck by lightning, causing a fire to break out. It was extinguished by villagers of Kreitz using stirrup pumps. The body of William of Weighbridge from the 14th century lies within the church. A memorial to him, which is made from clay on canvas. Sir William served as the Knight of the Shire. That's definitely your one small cottage. Must be what, 10 feet wide, probably goes back 16 feet. I won't be able to fit in there. My 6'3" size. South Wingfield. The name derives from win, meaning pasture, and feld, meaning open land. The famous Pentrich Rising in 1817, an armed uprising revolution by aggrieved stocking farm knitters, was planned in Pentrich, not far away from here, although the workers' march began in South Wingfield. 2 of the 3 ringleaders and 13 of the 50 men involved hailed from the village, and the only fatality occurred in Wingfield Park. They were lightly armed with pikes, scythes and a few guns, which had been hidden in a quarry in Wingfield Park, and had a set of rather unfocused revolutionary demands as they marched for Nottingham, including the wiping out of the national debt. The uprising was squashed by one of the men, a government spy, William J. Oliver. 3 men were hung and beheaded at Derbyshire due to their involvement in the uprising. Wingfield Manor, set on top of the hill overlooking the village of South Wingfield and surrounding countryside Derbyshire, is this palatial Gothic medieval manor house, built on the site of a former castle, built in the 1440s for the wealthy Ralph, Lord Cromwell, Treasurer of England, to house his large family, and the manor was built of a large proportion and grandeur for royal visits. When Cromwell passed away, he had no heirs to the house. It became the home of Bess of Hardwicke's husband, the Earl of Shrewsbury, John Talbot, who imprisoned Mary Queen of Scots here in 1569, 1584 and 1585. Mary Queen of Scots met Anthony Babington while imprisoned at Wingfield Manor. His family lived nearby in the Amber Valley. Between Mary and Anthony, they planned the failed Babington plot, which was the assassination plot against Queen Elizabeth I in 1586. The Earl's family continued to live in the property for over 200 years. The family lost the manor through the English Civil War in 1644, after many failed sieges upon the manor. After that, Parliament decided that the manor be dismantled and allowed to fall into ruin, leaving behind the present ruins we see today. The manor is famed for being the first house in the world to have a flushing toilet in 1596. The manor was mentioned in the book named Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence in 1913. Now I believe through that door is the vaulted ceiling, and above that is the Great Hall. Everything was going so smooth until, I stood in a bit of a swampy ground and it's all gone inside my boot. So just looking across the field, we can just see on top of that field is a ruin, and that's the ruin of the Finchley Windmill, built in 1793. As you can see, it's a bit of a ruin now. We're going to head down towards Finchley now. As we approach Finchley, we just go past this boundary stone. So on the left side is South Wingfield, and on the right side is Kreitz. So where I'm standing now, directly underneath me, is the Finchley Rail Tunnel. So the Finchley Rail Tunnel is disused, which is believed to be the oldest surviving example in the world. The tunnel was constructed in 1793 by Benjamin Outram. You remember him earlier, we spoke about him in reference to the Cromford Canal. Benjamin Outram built this as part of the Butterley Gang Road from Hilt's Quarry to Bullbridge. Altered in the 1840s, originally powered by horses and then adapted to the use of steam locomotives, and remained in ruins until the railway closed in 1933. During World War II, it was used as an air raid shelter and now is a scheduled monument. But you can't see much of it now because it's directly underneath us and both entrances have been blocked. So just passing through the hamlet of Finchley, Finchley has an active congregational church where Quakers meet on a regular basis. So across the field is a wall, and that wall is, well, it's a track, but it's actually the Butterley Gang Road that went from Hurst Quarry through Finchley, and as I've already mentioned, the Finchley Tunnel, which was the first railway tunnel in the world. It's a pity, although it's an ancient monument, it's been blocked in and you can't see it at all now. And then heading down here as the gangway follows down to Bullbridge, which is where we're heading to now, and down to the Lime Kilns. So not that clear to see, but there's a structure just in front of us, and that's one of the Ambergate lime kilns. Used to be a whole row of them. Now I think there was up to 20 at one point. A lot of them have been knocked down, demolished. This is one of the remaining ones. I think there's a couple more about somewhere. Well, I wouldn't exactly say it's the biggest house in the world, but it seems to have the biggest fountain outside the front, as you can see just about now. Looks a bit out of place. Looks like it should be outside Buckingham Palace or something like that. Here we have two of the lime kilns. You can see on the one on the right is collapsed. On the left is still seems to be intact. Now the red brick structure has obviously been built afterwards, but you can still see the shape of the lime kiln itself. This bridge is being held up by stakes and everything. Just on the top is a bridge, and that was part of the Butterley Gang Road that head down to the Kreitz Rail Road, which we're heading to next. A lot overgrown now, and guessing it's in quite bad condition. Right, well, it's getting a little bit on the dark side, so I think what we're going to do is I'm going to call it the end of the walk, because in a moment you're not going to be able to see me. I've got my head torch in my bag, as I always do, but nevertheless we've got about probably just under a mile to go until we get back to Ambergate. Light is dropping fast. I hate winter nights. I can't wait till the spring when it's a lot lighter at night time and I can walk further. So with that, hopefully you've enjoyed this walk. It's been interesting. It was a pity it was a bit foggy up at Crich Tower, and then we didn't get much of a view at Wingfield Manor, but I wasn't expecting we would get that much. But nevertheless, it's been a reasonable walk. I'm going to probably do a couple more walks in this area. If you haven't subscribed, then please do. Until then, Happy New Year, have a good time, stay safe, look after yourselves, and bye hikers. That's part of the way, Cromford Canal. As you can see that quite clearly.